Think it all happens in Silicon Valley? You thought wrong.
So QMCODES is a mobile media and marketing company. We've developed a technology platform called LinkMe that links physical objects in the real world to related online content using your mobile phone as the gateway to do that. Barcodes are something that we focus on, and they're commonly called QRcodes or 2D barcodes. They're starting to become mainstream now. They've been around for a long, long time. In Japan since about 2003. They're now starting to really grow and become mainstream, especially in places like the States, because big companies like Google and Microsoft, BlackBerry, they're all starting to pay attention to this space and starting to put readers on phones as standard. And so the growth is really starting to accelerate, especially towards the second half of this year. We should see a lot more 2D barcode activity, especially in the US. 2D barcodes are commonly used as a way of linking physical objects to objects online. The barcode was really just characters, alphanumeric characters, ASCII characters. And when you scan the code, the phone resolves the code to some words, and those words have a function. Most people use them to link to a URL. Some people use it as a way to tell a phone to send an SMS or install contact details on the phone. And that's actually the original reason for barcodes. When they first were created for this purpose, they were used as a way of quickly installing people's contact details from business cards onto people's mobile devices. Right, so we work in a number of different ways. We work with companies to help mobilize their content. So one of our biggest clients is actually HarperCollins, and we work with them. They're a book publisher, obviously, and they've got books like Lauren Conrad, LA Candy. On the back, we actually publish a code. And this code links to additional content from the book. So it's like DVD extras for the book or deleted scenes. Like say in a DVD, you get audio, director's commentary. This code delivers similar content to that. Alternate endings to the book, authors' insights into their inspiration behind writing the book. So you could maybe scan this code and download a blog or a podcast to your phone. And so it's a very quick and easy way for a publisher to deliver additional content. What we're actually doing at the same time is when you access that content, the publisher's getting feedback as to who's buying their books, where they're buying them. And so the whole data and analytics model on the back end that's actually providing publishers a new way of finding out who's actually buying their physical books from a retail store. Because if you go into Angus and Robinson at the moment and you bought a copy of LA Candy, the publisher doesn't know who you are. But by scanning that code, they start to get a better insight to you. So we charge publishers a licensing fee to use our platform, as well as other verticals. We're starting to look at wine as a specific vertical we could work in. Warner Music is also one of our clients in the US, so we're working with music labels at the moment. And now we're also looking at clothing, retail labels, and so on as well. So for us, it's linking to additional content. You've got physical objects in the real world, they always have some sort of online story that relates to them. If we can connect that physical object to its online story, we're creating a good user experience and new data and analytics for the people that own that product. And so this is what we mainly use it for. And for us, it's actually one of the best ways. It's used in marketing as well, and delivering content to people who buy and consume, media and physical objects. So it's really a really good way of saying you've got a physical object, it has an online presence, a website or something. Let's link this book to its website. Let's link this wine to a website. Let's link this piece of clothing to a website. We originally started with a reseller of someone else's technology, and when we realized that was never going to make us a lot of money, we went and built our own technology. And we've been really refining it and fine-tuning it ever since, as most good startups do. You have a good idea initially, and then you're constantly innovating and evolving it. So we've started to scale now into a much bigger area. We've moved to new hosting infrastructure out of the US. And we make sure from day one that we've always been developing with a bigger picture in mind and sort of total ownership of the particular market we're in. So we've always built our platform with the idea that eventually we're going to have a lot of traffic coming through, and so we've made it robust from day one. In regards to getting customers, it's been a bit of a domino effect. Once we got our first big customer, a lot of the other ones in that same league followed. So originally we worked with HarperCollins, we then did some stuff with Warner Music, we're now starting to work with Hachette Book Group. You know, there's a lot of interest in the US when a big player like HarperCollins says we want to use your technology. A lot of the smaller players and sort of medium size say, great, what's HarperCollins doing? We want to follow in their footsteps. It's mainly used in marketing, yeah, definitely. I mean, there are always sort of a mindset around content delivery and enhancing the user experience, but at the end of the day, in most cases, it's a good marketing tool. You know, you've got physical media, you've got print media, it's previously a one-way channel, you know, you only read the book, you can't engage with the book, you can't talk to the author. The way we set it up now is when you actually scan the code, you're accessing additional content, it becomes two-way. You can leave comments on the author, you can leave comments on the story. It's a little bit like Foursquare, you check into a restaurant. With us, you're effectively checking into the book, and you can leave comments on the book, you can engage with the author, access additional content on the book, and let people know you're reading it as well. Access to capital is always difficult, obviously. I mean, we just have a smaller country. You hear a lot of stories out of the US of people receiving $1 million rounds, $2 million rounds in funding. But those, you know, America has more than 10 times the population of Australia. So it's actually easy to get access to capital. In Australia, access to capital is a lot harder, and scalability as well. We realized very, very early on in our business that we were not going to make a lot of money operating out of Australia, and that's when we started to focus on the US. And so I'd say one of the biggest issues is access to capital, although the government is very supportive of early stage startups in the US. We've received a number of government grants from different departments over the 3 years that we've been operating to get us to the States. Yeah, cash flow is really, really important. You know, always make sure if you do get, you know, a large lump of money in, that you predict that that money is going to run out in a lot shorter space of time than what it actually is. Also, focus on the US. You know, it's good to start in Melbourne, and it's actually good to maybe get some early stage trials going with some smaller businesses in Australia, like we did. But over time, you really want to be looking to use those examples and those trials to get a leverage into the US, because if you can make it in the US, it's quite easy to replicate the model back here. If, for example, you know, we worked with some publishers over here early on, and then we met with their parent companies in the US, and now the Australian companies are licensing our technology from the parent companies in the US. So, you know, it's much easier once you get some early case studies in Australia to enhance and go to the US. And plane flights are cheap these days, you know.
Think it all happens in Silicon Valley? You thought wrong.